So here we are at Lund. It's now noon. The special rules on this right wing have expired. And we're not seeing a lot of difference, just a tightening of the situation. That right wing has gathered. Doesn't really have much it can do trying to reform this unit, and then it's going to go to cover the right wing, the right flank of the infantry over here. The infantry, here's the problem. First of all, having chosen a hedgehog, it's really hard to get out of there. But it would be hard to get out of there anyway. These cav are just lined up, ready to do interception attacks. If I move, there's a good chance that they're going to slam into me under worse circumstances than I have right now. The problem is I'm facing much heavier firepower. My guns are out, being the Swedes right now, and it looks like it's almost a bloodless victory for the Danes if I don't get out of there. And if they really wanted, they could just charge forward. No, they couldn't get the... They tried. They failed. These guys have not tried. They're not interested. They're there for one reason. They're there to prevent that retreat. And these are there to prevent a cavalry charge. Well, with the Swedes outnumbered the way they are and outgunned, they're just not going to last. And we're seeing infantry running. Uh-oh. I forgot about this guy. Oops. He was there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We're seeing infantry running from the field. We're seeing the artillery unable to leave. I'd have to abandon the artillery because the gunners are missing. I have to get them back to try to pull the guns out. It's just it's a hard situation no matter how you call it. And I don't think there's a good chance of even withdrawing to safer ground or off map like I had been hoping to. End of 13, there's a definite lull in the fighting. If there's going to be any more fighting, that's hard to tell. The Danes are unable. They keep rolling for that main infantry, so they still want to charge, but they've been unable to get it, and they're fairly satisfied just sitting there pounding the crap out of the Swedes, but they're not gaining anything by doing so. The cav doesn't feel strong enough. It feels like it would be risking a position that's perfectly safe right now if it advanced, and it might risk who knows what. It just seems way out of line to move that cav. This cav pulled into a rally formation, or rally orders. It's a little tired and needs to work its way into being able to really support things. If it could slip down here, it would be a potent force, but in doing so it would be revealing its rear to a fairly intact cav formation that just has been kind of diddling around because it doesn't have much to do. Yes, it can move over here, and it's going to, but there's no real need at this moment with that cav not in place yet. And the grand assault begins. The Danish line just moved forward in mass. Here's what's left of that Swedish infantry line. This is before any real combat, actually. These guys over here with pistols aren't cav. They're sailors armed with pistols. Biggest thing, me screwing up. Got the king and his center wing commander both dead or whatever. The reason for that is I had them on top of the cannons with no troops, trying to rally the cannons. It's worked other turns, but now that there's charge orders, it didn't work, and those cannons have all been captured. There's basically nothing to this line. I should have just abandoned the cannons and tried to get out of there. That's what my gut was telling me. But we're not even able to really charge up these hills because of the dead zones, which was something I was kind of aware of. This cav here was to protect against this cav. This cav, though, well, wasn't quite in position. And it couldn't defend against the infantry anyway. So I think it's going to be over real fast, real soon. On to turn 15. And we got new army commander, new center commander. I mean, the game is over in the sense of we know the Swedes can't win, but we said that before, but it was never about the previous game with the Danes. But it was never quite this clear. The Swedes had to get an advantage in victory points to win that one. In this one, the Swedes have to get an advantage in victory points to win, and it ain't happening. I am still going to try to play it out and try to pull these Swedes out and get as many of them as possible towards their retreat zone. Not that there's any rules for a retreat there, but I figure at least if they get them off the map, they won't end up in the dead pile. So here on turn 15, the main Danish infantry line's all that's gone so far. They've only gone once. I gotta check for continuation, which they shall get. But they're moving forward, getting a little disorganized by the terrain, just trying to put some pressure on. Chances are they can't do anything about the cav. I think that's going to get out of here. But there are still a couple of infantry units back here that have been rallied. There's the Hedgehog. The other unit got destroyed by salvo fire. And the Hedgehog is getting shot up by these sailors. There's not much they can really do about it. As long as nobody attacks them, the Hedgehog is pretty much a useless terrain feature for target practice. So, other than that, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure that we want to stay in charge formation because the units are a little shaky at this point and probably should recover if possible. So that's the last activation for the Danish infantry. The line pushed forward a little bit, cav giving way, same over here. In the center, the Swedes were forced into an attack here, routing one unit, but that means this unit's probably lost. But probably their infantry's lost no matter what they do. They really just should be getting their cav out of there. Save the hell with the infantry. It's only 2 units left at this point. Well, 3 if you count the Hedgehog, but that's totally doomed. And I don't think the Danes can chase the Swedish cav down. It's hard to tell, but the terrain's so crappy, it seems unlikely. A little bit of bloodletting as the Swedes tried to disengage on this side and finally had an attack and then a pull, not an actual attack, just moving forward. It caused a little bit of engagement, and then when the Swedes tried to pull out, their light infantry got chased off the field, and there was a little cav battle over here. Just 2 units with a repulse for the Danes. This doesn't exist anymore. And we move to turn 16. What have we seen? Mentioned already the engagements happening on the cav side. Over on the infantry side, the Swedish infantry actually more or less pressed its attack. The Hedgehog was destroyed trying to convert. This guy went and captured a cannon. I don't know what good that does. And this guy got repulsed, I don't know, directly or indirectly. Got a fleeing light infantry here. Those are the guys that got hit again up here when trying to rally. And got a routing unit from Denmark up here. That's about it. Looking at the Danes, there's one danger. They want to make sure that they don't leave the field. Like, that they don't just break their army. Now this guy's in rally. He failed to get out of it. Nothing else is really terribly close, but the infantry is frightening to me because it's this huge line of stuff that's not in great condition. And just moving a hex can cause enough friction to throw it into formation broken. And that's what I most have to worry about with the Danes. This unit, well, it's kind of engaged in combat. It's conceivable that it could just break. So I just have to be kind of careful. Keep trying to... Once this guy's out of rally, it'll be fine, I think. But with him in rally in the best condition, it's kind of tough. I think the Swedes are going to mostly get out of here. But I said that before, and we saw an engagement. There's definitely going to be harassment. I don't know how much this is worth playing out. I think the infantry is not going to make it off the board. I think the cav is. I'll go another turn at least. But on to turn 17. The overall infantry line for the Danes stopped and is trying to regroup. That's fine because they really aren't able to pursue the cav at all. Over here on the Swedish left flank, their cav's having trouble withdrawing. They moved it to make ready to get it a little more mobility, but they've got to fix a number of problems with their formation, and the Danish formation looks good, so they could be in some trouble there. Over on the right wing, the cav got out of rally, pulled up. They're having trouble moving over the terrain, but the Swedish right wing cav is trying to protect the infantry. I think there's one unit left and a light infantry jack here. This is the remaining Swedish infantry, the one that ran off to capture a gun. They're fleeing around behind the Danish lines. Whatever. Alright, that's the end of turn 17, and I think I'm calling it here. Yes, there might still be some skirmishing. These Swedes are having trouble getting out. Got the infantry who are kind of slow. Sure, the Danes have formed up and are ready for that hammer blow, but I think some Swedes are going to escape, some are not. I think most of them are going to make it out. Point-wise, you know, I'm not going to count the whole thing, but there's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, just in casualties, to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I don't know how much. It's probably 60. So it's already a 50-point swing. There's all these leaders who are going to count another 10. He's going to count 30. That's 40 more. Their guns brings it up to 50 more. So, you know, it's more than a 100-point swing. And whatever's on the field, sure, there may be a couple more Danish casualties, but that is minor. And what we're looking at is for the victory. Sorry about that. For the victory conditions, and this is for the scenario, the main. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. The Swedes would have to get at least 60 points better, more than 60 points better than the Danes get to get even a marginal victory. If the Danes came close to even, 10 points or less behind, they get a decisive victory. Well, clearly in terms of the game, this is a seriously decisive victory. In terms of the situation, it also is. The Danes have just destroyed the Swedish army and will maintain many of their holdings in Scania at this point for the winter at least. It's going to be a lot harder for Sweden to put an army on the field. Denmark historically had to go hat in hand to a lot of their allies and also call up troops that they wouldn't normally call up for foreign service. So what we're seeing is a major Danish army still alive and the Swedes badly hammered. Alright, I'll wrap this and send this one up. Gonna take another little break from these. Probably nothing too heavy. Right now, my mind is on Railroad Barons. Little card game. I just The next one up is Malmo, which is interesting because it looks like it's a siege. And that should be fun.